Welcome to the Denim and Pearls podcast. Business casual conversation laced with pearls of wisdom. Casual, authentic, unscripted dialogue about life, work, and entrepreneurship with the perfect blend of laughter and seriousness. Pull up a chair, kick back, and lean in as we welcome your hosts, Michelle Ross and Brian Swanson.
Well, hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Why do you have to do it so elegantly when I just say hi?
Come on, Vogue. That's what's in my head. That's why.
Yes, we just played Vogue. If you remember the 1990 Emmy
your
Awards.
Body move to the... That kind of. We're probably going to get stopped on Facebook for music rights for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, who knows? They've been doing weird things with music lately. I don't get it.
And we haven't had any music.
So anyhow.
Hi, my name is Michelle Ross.
And I'm Brian Swanson.
We're Denim and Pearls. We are business casual.
With pearls of wisdom.
From the not porch.
But always the porch.
Yes.
The porch is a pseudonym or a resemblance of what it really means to just like have conversation and
be.
Yeah, I mean, we could call it Vegas, but that'd be a little stretching it.
Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What
so
happens on the porch
it's kind of spread around all over the place.
We want to go there. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us live. If you are on live with us right now and we see you, share the live broadcast because you never know what you're going to get when you have Brian and I sitting here conversing. So what's our title today?
Our title, Hopelessly Devoted.
Hopelessly.
Does anybody remember that one? It's such a sad song.
Is it sad?
It kind of is.
It's supposed to be bittersweet because
is that it?
Olivia Newton-John is pining for John Travolta and she's hopelessly devoted to him.
I think every woman in the world wanted that.
In the movie Grease, I did not. I wanted a teddy bear. Actually, at that point, I wanted a Black Panther that wouldn't eat me as a pet. That's what I wanted. Hey, someone made a comment.
Michael said from Greece. Yes, we know.
Greece, yes.
We kind of got that one. Actually, it happened last night. We heard the song last night.
Yeah, someone was singing it last night, and it's like, and I get on my high horse about that song, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
So
Hopelessly Devoted.
We are talking about Hopelessly Devoted, and our topic basically is. I just lost the words we said. It was basically being committed to your business and your relationships and the fine line that happens when you cross over from being committed to being hopelessly devoted.
But isn't hopelessly devoted an oxymoron? Hopelessly and devoted. Is that not an oxymoron?
I have no idea.
You know what an oxymoron is? Two words that are opposite of each other?
But hopelessly and devoted. Yeah, it could be.
Because hopelessly is kind of like you don't want to, but you're forced to. There's no choice.
We need Nathan, our thesaurus, Nathan Cook. Please come on. Anyways,
please stand up. Please stand
up. Nathan Cook, please stand up. Please stand up. Well, I don't know if hopelessly and devoted. Yeah, I think hopelessly is you can't help it, and devoted is you want it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
well, you're already there.
But anyways, it is a silly song, and a lot of people love it, and it does sound beautiful because it's Olivia Newton-John. But are you committed to your business? Are you hopelessly devoted to your business,
or anything else?
But we always talk about business first, and then personal second. But I think this one's going to kind of blend.
I think so too.
So, what came to your mind about being committed to your business and hopelessly devoted?
I think. It depends. If you look at it from the lyrics of the song, she's hopelessly devoted. She's really torn, and there's nothing that she can do. And she's got to have, John Travolta, or what was his name in the movie? Anyhow,
I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyhow, she's got to have him and all this other kind of stuff. And she doesn't have a choice. And that's what's going on. So if you take that literal translation into your business, that means like starting a business that you don't believe in or you don't like, but yet you're already devoted or committed to it, which means you're going to have to take it to the next level, or you're going to have to move it on or do something. Ooh. In other words, get over it and move on, even though it may not be the thing that you get out of bed in the morning for.
I'm thinking
as
like,
an entrepreneur.
like as entrepreneurs, a lot of us, we started in other businesses because we're like, okay, this is where I'm going to get my money so I can make money so I can go do what I want to do. I'm devoted to this thing because this is going to get me the money so I can go do what I want to do.
30 years later.
And you're stuck in it. And that's not what you really wanted to do, but you're doing it because you're stuck. You are literally hopelessly devoted to it.
Right. Well, I get a perfect example. When I was here in Colorado Springs, the first time I worked at the Air Force Academy, and it was the holiday season, and I was a big bowler back in those days. Okay. So
not in hat, actually ball.
Yeah, bowling ball. I was not boulder. That's boulder, not a bowling hat.
It's a bowling hat.
No, it's a boulder hat.
No, it's a bowling hat.
Yes, Boulder.
We'll have to look at
it. Anyway, when I was there at the Air Force, or here at the Air Force Academy, I went up during the season, or the what did I just say? The celebrity season, not the celebrity season. Anyhow, during Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So I went up there and they said, hey, we could use your help.
Okay.
I said, all right, fine. Just through the season, get me, I'll get you through the next month and a half or whatever, and we'll go. 3 years later, I finally walked away from the place.
Yeah, that's
definitely hopelessly devoted.
That's misguided devotion.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just the fact that I looked down at my watch and it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you had your head
buried. The holiday season is over.
You had your head buried down so low, doing what you needed to do, that you never looked up to realize that you didn't want to be there that long.
Right.
Now, how often have we found ourselves doing that in our business? And
a lot.
And then what I was telling Brian about, I get on my high horse about hopelessly devoted to you, is that fine line of being so devoted that you miss out on all the things you don't like about that one particular thing. So I'm thinking, let's say young love, like in this movie in Greece. Oh my goodness, she's so in love with him. Oh my gosh, she has to be with him. Oh my God. But she doesn't look at everything else about him. She did everything to get this guy. She even changed who she was, her dress, how she spoke. She started smoking. She did everything completely opposite of who she was so that he would want her.
Well, I got to ask. I mean, if you watch that in the 1980s when it came out and you watch it today, your age is a little different. Your thoughts and your devotions are a little bit different. So maybe it's not quite what you think it is.
No, here's the other thing.
I mean, because if you showed this somebody...
Stop.
What?
You didn't let me finish my thought.
Of course I did.
At the end, do you remember he came out wearing a Letterman's jacket? He had changed for her.
Yeah. Oh, and you think that's okay?
No, they both changed to be with the person they thought they wanted to be with. And the thing is, they totally polar opposited themselves to be with the person they wanted. It was completely superficial.
But that's like that's the dating scene. I mean, your business, you could even say that. That's your dating scene.
Well, I'm trying to get back to the business, but that's what I'm saying about
it's the same thing.
Scene. And how many divorces are out there?
I don't know what the world is at now.
Well, what I'm saying is, it's a mistake that many of us do in our lives. We change who we are to attract what we think we want.
Right, but that's part of the dating process.
I'm still trying to get to business. When you do your business, I'm smiling as I'm doing. I gotta go right. When you're in your business, you've got to remember your core values. People change in their business to attract what they think is going to give them money or the right kind of clientele that's going to get them to something else. And they shift from their core beliefs.
Well, I don't know. Changing your business, it has to evolve. But that doesn't mean, I guess, you got to stick to your morals, your standards, your ethics. But I think that's a little extreme, don't you? I mean, because don't most of us stick with our morals, our standards, and our ethics?
Okay, I'm going to get into something controversial. Remember,
you're warning them.
Yeah.
Remember, should I flash on their big screen on the?
Remember a couple of years ago when Chick-fil-A, which is a Mormon company, was being attacked for not hiring LGBTQ.
Well, yeah.
Right, and they said don't eat there because they're bigots or whatever.
But their food's good.
But their food's really good. Don't go. What society was trying to do was force a company from their moral code.
Right. Well, the thing of it is some of them are just like what you're talking about, I guess. You rolled it right into it. We've got a lot of companies out there that are voluntarily changing that moral code.
And you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So keep going.
Watch Disney.
Oh.
Disney's moral code, in order to fit the narrative, changed what they said they were going. Disney himself said, we are like DC. We're unattached to anything. We're completely separate, and that we will never be involved in anything political. When you're in Disney World, you're in a fantasy. The outside world does not exist. We are in our pretend world, and everyone can let go of all their fears and all their anxiety when you come into Disney World. Disney World went woke. I'm not saying that's bad for being woke. I'm saying Disney has always been separate from the rest of the world because it's a fantasy world. And then they started putting things like boys and girls can't be said anymore. This and this has to be this. They started changing what Disney originally said, fantasy world. Fantasy world, everything exists. So we don't have to put labels on things. And they started labeling things. And they dropped. Their profits dropped, their attendance dropped, everything dropped. Why? Because they tried to change the core of their company to fit what they thought society wanted. So big, that was big.
I could go so far on that one, but we don't.
We don't want to go there. So my thing is, think that's huge. Okay, that's big. And then we were talking about Greece. Are you, when you wonder about your business moving up or moving down and what's going on, and why is it not growing? My question to you is, have you shifted who you are in order to please something that doesn't even exist, doesn't really want you?
But I don't know if you would notice that right away. I really don't know if you would notice that right away.
You would notice it in
if
2 quarters.
All of a sudden your numbers drop, then you can look back and go, oh.
But that's what I'm saying.
Being in the moment.
No, you won't know in the moment. But if you're doing something like, let's say with me, as a speaker, I speak to everyone, okay? Anyone trying to grow and break through mental blocks, basically, to be the best version of them. If I went out and said, I am only going to speak to men between the ages of 45 and 55.
Show out proof of ID.
Yeah, but I start changing my narrative for just that demographic, I would lose 95% of my people.
Well, there's always that thing about believing in your target market.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, well, my product is made if you have skin. No, wait a minute. Or if you have hair.
Yeah, it can't be that general.
Okay, that's way too specific. But when you've got to narrow it down. However.
That's not specific.
Well, you have
skin. Everybody has skin, man.
It's very, I said it was very.
You said specific.
Broad.
You said specific.
Right, but if you want to make it specific.
People with skin.
You can narrow it down to the age groups or the skin. You've got to find out what your demographic is. However, you can't forget the broad range. You just have to narrow down your targeting.
Yeah,
your marketing.
As like a speaker, we speak to one, but many hear.
Yeah, well, Residence Inn is probably one of the biggest examples I've ever heard of.
What's that?
Residence Inn hotel.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to a Residence Inn, they usually got living rooms and a separate bedroom and different things like that. It's really designed for somebody over a week period of time. It was designed for the business guy.
Extended stays. Yeah.
Yeah, the business guy that come into town and needs a place decent to stay. Well, that's their market. That's who they advertise to. But that doesn't mean that family of 5 can't walk up, knock on the door, and say, "Hey, give me a room."
Yeah, they're not going to turn away. But yeah, you have a demographic, but you let them all in. You let whoever wants you in. No, I'm just saying, when you're hopelessly devoted to something, sometimes you get blinded by
the light.
Exactly, you get blinded. You're so focused on that one thing that you don't see all the other opportunities around you.
Definitely.
Don't be hopelessly devoted.
Well, I have to take this a different direction a little bit.
Okay.
What if you are hopeless devoted, but it's to multiple things?
Example.
Multiple businesses, multiple projects. Because the brain can only focus on one thing at a time.
Where are you going with that? I don't get it.
Because if you're committed to too many projects and stuff,
You dilute it.
And you don't have the success that you need. So you've got to actually hopelessly devote to one. Now, did you see where I went with that? Sort of.
Yeah. See, I don't believe you need to be hopelessly devoted to anything, but
well, considering it's oxymoron, you shouldn't be hopelessly devoted.
yeah,
anyway.
you shouldn't be hopelessly devoted. It just doesn't. There's got to be a give and take somewhere. But if you're going to be devoted to anything, be devoted to you, because you have to fill your pitcher before you can fill other people's cups.
So put your mask on first before you put your kids on.
Exactly.
In the airplane, most of you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they say put on yours, and then anyone who needs help, then do them. You see,
or not.
Yeah, or not.
I've been watching a lot of aircraft.
Yeah, but I watched
lately.
Hopeless. I heard that song "Hopelessly Devoted to You," and my skin crawls. It's a beautiful song because Olivia Newton-John sings it, but my skin crawls because they both. It was so superficial. Their love was so superficial. And at the end, when they're in the car and it cheesily flies off into the sunset, I keep thinking like
I thought it was a hot air balloon.
No, it's like
it's
chitty
a car.
chitty bang bang.
Yeah.
They go in a car and it flies. Okay, it goes up in the
Yep.
and they're waving goodbye, like we're gonna live happily ever after. And I told Brian, you know what? As soon as they moved in together, as soon as they got married and moved in together, they hated each other because they're polar opposites. And she knew nothing about him except that he was cute.
But maybe it wouldn't be that way. Maybe it would be the fact that now they understand each other and the relationship is tighter as they moved on in life.
That's why the divorce rate's so high, because so many of us watched that.
We're talking about Grease. We're talking about Travolta and Olivia.
And so many people watched that movie and thought it was like, oh, look. I was one of those kids that got creeped out in Sleeping Beauty when the prince saw her dead and he kissed her. And then the other one,
Sleeping I never Beauty, looked at it quite that way.
And then the other one was like Snow White. She was freaking buried in a glass coffin and the prince opened it and kissed her. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so creepy. He used to scare me as a kid. And everyone's like, oh, isn't it romantic? No, she was dead. And that is how
she was dead.
And that is how we knew Michelle did not think like all the other children.
I'm just thinking, okay, I guess the storyline, she was out, but does that mean she was
They thought she was dead.
Right, but that's I guess I never looked at it from that way because of the storyline.
They had her in a coffin. And Sleeping Beauty, she was in a coffin in suspended animation.
No, she was on top of a table, I thought.
They had her laying out because they were mourning her death.
Right, but she wasn't in a coffin.
She was in a coffin. Snow White was in a coffin. She was in a glass coffin. But anyways, because oh my gosh. Can we talk about Disney movies? I have so many freaky things about Disney movies.
Well, it's not just Disney. I mean, it's our society. It's the way we put things together. It's the way we look at things from the way they were and the way they are today. They're totally different. I mean, you cannot put All in the Family on TV these days.
No, I'm thinking simple because, with Disney, I remember when my parents got divorced the first time. When they got separated, and I was like, "Oh no!" And my sister's like, "What?" They can't get divorced. They can't. She's, I know we don't want to break up our family. I do know. If Dad gets a new wife, the stepmother's gonna kill us.
Put you in the basement and make you wash the clothes.
But I'm serious. That's what Disney put in my head. That stepmothers were really, really bad.
How old were you?
Probably 7, 6. I was 7 when my parents got separated the first time.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little weird, but I look back rationally and go, that just doesn't happen like that.
I was like,
now I'm sure it does happen because we could go into that conversation all day long. I don't think that's the majority of the human race.
I watched Disney and thought it was a reflection of America, and so I was like, I don't want a stepmother, and if I die, somebody burn me because I don't want anyone trying to kiss me and wake me up. I'm serious. I'm a weird kid.
So what did you think of Snow White and all the Munchkin guys?
The 7 Dwarfs?
The dwarfs, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was creepy.
Why?
Because she came into their house and cleaned these strangers' house. And I'm like, the nerve of her to come into someone else's house and just assume they wanted it clean. They had it that way. Maybe they wanted it that way. And I remember why is she cleaning their house without permission?
Um,
The insights of
now
Michelle.
I know what's wrong with you. It's taken me this long to figure out that I know what's wrong with you. Disney destroyed you.
Disney destroyed me.
Don't tell Disney that.
But I was doing all the insights doing, why would anyone want to do that? Any other Disney movie? Because like the other thing was like Peter Pan. He sprinkled dust. He goes, come on, jump out the window. We can fly. And I'm like, and I digress completely off the subject of Hopelessly Devoted. Okay, back to Hopelessly Devoted.
Well, no, I think you're pretty hopelessly devoted to Disney at this point. It's got a pretty good emphasis on your life.
I should write a book about that. How Disney messed up my mentality. But it really, I looked at life differently because I didn't look at it with rose-colored glasses looking at Disney. I was watching it doing, who would jump out of a window with some flying person in the room? I'm like, what is that, an alien? I mean,
well, you got to remember too, if you look at the scene, he was sleeping. It was a dream. They went out the window on a dream.
Huh?
Yeah, look at all the kids that were in the room, and then who took off on the carpet with him, or who flew off with Peter Pan.
They all did.
No, they woke him up first.
They woke him up and he took.
So it was a dream.
No.
It was a dream. It was a fantasy.
No.
No, you should go back and watch.
I'm gonna have to watch it because I'm pretty sure that he took the fairy dust from Tinkerbell and he tapped her because she didn't want to do it. He tapped her and the dust came off of her fairy dust onto Wendy, and then it blew onto the boys, and then they took them.
Yeah, because they had to wake up first. So it was all a dream.
What was all a dream?
The whole thing.
No.
Peter Pan and what land was he in? I forget.
Neverland.
Neverland. It was all a dream.
No, he took them, and then later he brought them back, and they went back to bed so they wouldn't scare their parents. And then when the parents come in, then they woke up. We are gonna watch Peter Pan.
I got you thinking. No.
No, I know you're wrong.
I got you thinking. No, it was all a dream. It was
I'm the one who remembers all the movies I watched.
I know, but
I remember details. He doesn't remember like a TV show he watched yesterday. Okay.
Well, that's true too. But
I remember things like that because I'm very visual.
I don't remember.
Dinky, how did the flying carpet mess you up?
I probably in the same way. I mean, but Disney has always been, and we're not really. We shouldn't be focusing on Disney alone because it is all of them. I mean, look at the stuff that's going out now, and all the boxes that have to be checked for today's societal wokeness and all this other kind of stuff for them to produce a movie. What's it going to do to our kids 20 years from now?
When they realize that the world isn't that divided?
Yeah, when they realize how bad it really was. Well, in our opinion, they're gonna look back and go, wow. Those people really screwed us up back in the day.
Probably because we watched too many cartoons when we were kids.
Well, I mean, we watched the Roadrunner. I watched Roadrunner.
I know. We used to watch things like draw a black dot on a wall and walk through it and then pull the dot from inside of the rock. And the next person would just hit the rock. We knew that didn't happen.
But we were also taught by our parents that things weren't real. We were taught to learn the difference between reality and real and fake and reality. Which
is probably what my problem was with watching the Disney shows as a kid, because I was watching it as a fact, doing, that doesn't work. That wouldn't happen that way. Or, holy smokes, that's an evil thing to do. Her stepmom turned into a witch and then gave her an apple? What kind of evil person does that? People are evil. I mean, it was pretty funny.
I was a little more, I guess, when I got a little bit older, because I was always into the, the DC Justice League, those kind of things, my Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. And I knew it wasn't real, but it was always fun to watch. I mean,
Michael just put Labyrinth. Yeah, that messed me up. Oh my gosh. Have you not seen Labyrinth? You need to look up Labyrinth with the Gypsy King. Holy smokes. That gave me nightmares alone.
Well, I got more into, when I got older, I got more into the Stephen King stuff.
Oh, no, that's different.
Well, the reason why I got into the Stephen King stuff is because he put a lot of fiction or a lot of nonfiction within the fiction. Okay. Everything was fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But he threw these, what I thought was nonfiction, into it to make it seem real.
Oh.
So in other words, was it Carrie that was telekinesis or whatever, or pyrokinesis?
No, Carrie was a telekinesis. She
Right.
could move things.
Those
That's
things,
when she got mad and she
right.
said everything.
We still to this day have not proved whether that's true or not true.
No, that's
so
still...
you can believe or not believe. And that was the stuff that I liked about King. Because
he said, and Firestarter was the kinetic one.
Pyrokinesis, yeah.
Pyrokinesis.
But, you know, we can't prove right or wrong on that. Even to this day, I don't think they've proved that it works.
Yeah, Michael, the Goblin King was freaky.
I didn't do the Goblin King.
No, it's from Labyrinth, where David Bowie has that doing the ball thing, and he steals,
I know it is.
steals
I never
the
really
baby, and he has the big cock cover.
The what?
Yeah, he had this body cog piece thing, and he was dancing. And I'm like, this is really disturbing.
Yeah. How did we get off on this from Hopelessly Devoted?
Because I got off on another tangent because people have misconceptions of what they truly want in the world. And Grease was one of them, where you can change someone and you can change and you'll get the love of your life. And the guy's doing, I can change and I can get the love of my life. Come to find out that they weren't compatible in the first place, unless some miracle happened and yin yang really did work for them. And opposites did attract, but I can tell you that is not going to last a lifetime. It probably lasted 8 months.
You're almost telling me we shouldn't watch theatrical stuff.
No, I'm never saying that.
In general, theatrical stuff. That's kind of what you're saying, because whatever's on the screen is a falsity, and it sets our expectations or resets.
I'm not saying not watch it. I'm just saying watch it with the reality check that it's fiction. Because think about it. Growing up as a little girl, I thought I wasn't going to be. This is how my brain works. I grew up not knowing if I was going to make it to 16. And when they asked me why, I thought I was going to die. And they said, why'd you think you're going to die? I said, because all the grownups on TV are white. Barbie was white.
What does that have to do with dying at 16?
I thought I was not going to be a grown-up because everything I saw.
No grown-ups were black or Asian?
In my life, yes. But on TV and movies and books, they were all white.
So that would make you come to the realization that you're not going to be around when you get to that age, whatever that person is on TV?
I had no idea. But for some reason, I thought that I wasn't going to make it to be a grown-up. But my mom is like, what am I? You're a grown-up here, but grown-up there, they don't exist. It was weird how my mind works. But then again, I'm also a kid who analyzed Snow White being kissed dead, and I'm different. Okay,
I watch movies. That's really funny too, because I'm one of these ones that watch these movies and stuff, and I watch them at face value.
And I pull them apart.
I watch them for whatever. Now, if I catch something, a check mark, what we call box checking.
No, I pull apart everything I watch. You know why? I'm an evaluator.
But when I watch movies, I want to be entertained. I don't necessarily want to be.
No, I want to be entertained. My problem is
you're not being entertained if you're analyzing.
No, I enjoy it first. My husband, that's what we do. We watch something and we enjoy the heck out of it. And then we go back later and we talk about all the things that didn't line up.
Oh, now that's different.
But we do that because we make sci-fi movies. We make movies with Armageddon films. So we enjoy a film, enjoy for what it is, and then we pull it apart. Yeah, it's a plug. We pull it apart of how it could have gotten better, or how you could fix that loophole, those kind of things. We're avid learners. And as a speech coach, there's another plug. I evaluate, assess, and rearrange. It's what I do naturally. It's who I am. Yes, Michael, Beauty and the Beast. We had a heyday with that one, especially when our kids were younger. I'm like, he's a monster. He's terrible. He's horrific to everybody that he works with. Blah, 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 blah. But her love will change him.
Wasn't that the same as Hunchback from Notre Dame? Weren't they the same story?
Yeah, basically. No, I was like, I don't know if I want our kids to watch this. I remember doing that. He's horrific to everyone. One of the things I told our kids, when you date someone, go to a restaurant and see how they treat a server. If they treat the server like dirt, break up. Don't go out with them anymore.
Well, that's why some CEOs take interviews to restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, it's how you see how someone treats someone they think is below them. If they treat them like dirt, you don't want to be around them. There. And I used to watch Beauty and the Beast and cringe because he was so mean to everyone who took care of him for most of his life. Anyways, enough of my high horse of the frailties of animation films.
But it's not just animation, though.
I know, but you don't want me to stay on this because I'll rip up everything.
Yeah, I know, but it's actually been kind of entertaining at this point.
Okay.
I'm seeing your perspective from a lot of different ways, so you're kind of devoted to this topic at this point.
I'm
hopelessly devoted to this topic, because I don't know. I mean, I love the Disney movies, but I never really appreciated the Disney movies until I got older. So I actually was sitting here thinking part of my story is the way that I was raised and the things that I was raised with. I had to watch cartoons,
to escape
this far from the TV. So the volume wasn't, because I didn't want to wake my mother up, because, my mother would take me in different directions and just totally ruin my day for cartoons. It was usually cleaning day and all kinds of other things. But I'm wondering if in my past, I never really paid attention to these kind of transitions because it wasn't at the top of my priority list. It's just like Star Wars. When Star Wars come out, I in 1977, I didn't care about pop culture. I didn't want to see any pop culture, so I refused to go watch Star Trek. I also didn't listen to Kiss because or Star Wars. I mean, not Star Trek. Okay. I didn't go to it because it was popular.
Oh, you just avoided it because
I avoided it because it was popular, and I never watched it until 7 came out.
Michael, yes, I'm going to make a book called "The Movies That Messed Me Up."
Yeah, you need one.
Yeah, because my thing is, like, he avoided pop culture. With me, I grew up overseas. I grew up in the Philippines. So by time it was not popular, that's when we finally got it. So I was always like 10, 12 years behind, right? Waggies for life. Right? We were always a little behind unless you went home over the summer into the United States and saw what was actually happening. But overseas, we were always a little behind in movies and music and everything. So Disney was my connection to everything, because we would get those big records and they had the book. And you would listen to the storyline being talked on the record. Those are the ones I had. And so that's how I first watched Lady and the Tramp and all those things. So that's how I got my ear for music. I would sing with all of these Disney records I had. And I wanted to be part of Disney. It was one of my big dreams, was to be on Broadway and be a Disney voice.
You know what they have in the Marvel world? They have the What If comics.
Yeah.
The What If ...
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Remember those?
Yeah.
They should do that with the Disney stuff.
Let's do it. Let's make the book.
What if Aladdin met the Hunchback?
Actually, there's a TV series. There's a TV series that's doing that.
Yeah, there's the What If TV series, but it's all Marvel.
It's Marvel. What if they didn't?
They should do that with Disney though. What if Snow White would have ran across?
We'd like to copyright that idea right now. We have copyright the What If Disney's if they've interacted differently. What if Snow White did not eat the apple? What if Snow White was smart enough not to take an edible object from someone she did not know, where the lightning was shining and was blowing up around her? Everything went black and ominous, but she's still going to take the dang apple, and it's dripping, and she still bit into it.
It had a worm in it, right?
And yeah, how could you take something so obviously not good for you? Anyways.
I think at that we should call it a day.
Michelle and her matter of fact looked at Disney. That's my next book,
so that we can at least finish it up on track. Hopelessly devoted to your business, to your relationships, is what?
Don't be so hyper focused that you miss what's happening around you, and don't be so hyper focused that you don't realize that what you're hyper focused on isn't working. Be aware of what works and what doesn't work. So be hopelessly devoted this much. Keep aware of your surroundings. Keep your hands and arms inside the cup, inside of the, what is it?
The teacup?
No,
one that one in Disneyland that goes
around. No, they say when you're on the roller coaster, keep your hands and whatever.
Inside the car.
Inside the car.
Or the airplane.
But be aware of what's going on in your business and your relationships. You sometimes can get so focused on your business or whatever, the person you're looking at, that you don't see the failings that's happening around you, or the market changing around you. Hopelessly devoted sounds pretty, but as he said, it's an oxymoron. You don't want to be hopelessly and devoted to anything.
I have the perfect example.
What?
Kodak. It was always pictures and film and film and film, and they never adjusted to digital. And it took their business down. Blockbuster, they were hopelessly devoted to DVD, and it took their business down. So what are you doing with your business?
Oh, I like that. And all those musicians who did not believe in digital music because they thought they were going to lose money if you went digital and stayed with records.
Mm-hmm. I think we're done.
I think we're done. Have a great week, everyone. Be the best version of you. And
peace.
Peace.